Board of Harbor Commissioners. It is October 15th, 2025, and it is 10 a.m., more or less. So let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. George, would you like to do that?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
Roll call, please.
Ben Slater Carter,
Yes, here.
Mr. Shane Corrali, Commissioner Matoush,
Present.
Mr. Zemke,
Present.
Mr. Delmont.
Present.
Good. Comments and questions. These are for items not on the agenda. And this will start with the comments from the public first. We have one presentation, some folks doing a presentation in the audience. Do we have anybody online? Okay. Calling on, then moving on to the next item, commissioner comments.
I will start that off. I had the opportunity on September 25th to attend a feedback session hosted by WEDA, the Water Emergency Transport Agency that provides the ferry service at Oyster Point. And they're looking at options to try and increase ridership and improve efficiency of their ridership. They currently do three trips, I think, a day from the East Bay to South City, and then the reverse in the evening. The two options they're looking at, one is discontinuing the Oakland stop and stopping only at Alameda to increase the time efficiency for the ferry. The second option they're looking at is changing it to South City to San Francisco ferry, where they could pick up commuters from Alameda, Oakland, and other sites that use that ferry service. I guess the impetus for this is the fact that they're not getting close to the 40% funding that's kind of anticipated for public transit. And I think Jim has had some initial contact with WEDA on this as well. So the other options that they're looking at is possibly moving from 5 days a week to 3 or 4 days a week when they have the highest ridership, fare increases, corporate sponsors, and privatizing the ferry are some of the options that they're also looking at. So that's it.
That's interesting. George.
And I'd also like to say that last week I attended a conference in Long Beach. It was a national conference of the American Shore and Beach Preservation Association. Quite a lot of representation by harbors, because a lot of these beaches that are constructed around the country come from material dredged from the harbors. So the harbors were quite a showing there. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to Brad Damitz and Louis White, who were there giving presentations on Pillar Point Harbor. I gave a talk on more how to embrace the community and bring the community more into a lot of the things that we're talking about, because the theme of the conference was how do you bridge science, policy, and the community. So bringing, and with some of the ideas that we have of how to educate our local public about the fishing industry, about the safety of the ocean and so forth. So those are all the things we talked about. It was a great conference, about over 600 people, even with about 20 to 30% above that not showing up because their federal participation. There was very little, unless they lied who they were representing. There were a few of those, I won't say who. But, so there were a couple. It was a really good conference. People that I worked with for like 50 years, a lot of them, a lot of young people. Great to see, because there's a lot of interest in the coast and in all these challenges that we have. So
Thank you. Anyone else? Virginia.
Yeah, so I had quite a busy month, starting off with the Arune Fun Run, which I thought was a huge success. Such a successful event, actually, Jim, that looks like we've got a date for next year as well at the harbor. So thanks for getting that going. Also, that same day, Bill and I went to the Oyster Point Yacht Club like their little open house thing, which was really great. They said that they really love Jim Smith out there, and the harbor staff's been doing great work, and they're very appreciative of, what we do. And I think that's why they invited us. So Bill was at that also later on after the run. Then there was the film festival that Tom and I attended on September 27th, and that showed Pirates of the Caribbean, I think the second movie, and also what's the other movie? It was the first short that was done with
Surf.
Right.
Yeah, but-
Right of a lifetime or something.
Right of a Lifetime, something like that, which was really great. And I don't know, Jim, how many people were there? Like over 100 at first, right?
I think about 100, 125.
Yeah, and then I think as the night wore on.
Lion dancing was there too.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite an event. So I think that was very, very well received. And I think Julie wants to do another event like that or similar to that at a different time. And then also Sophia Lane, who used to be on the Rio Unified School District Board, she has started this little media company that does podcasts. Her media company is called Bright On. And so as a friend of hers, I think she's trying to get her friends to do this, but it was really fun. She asked me to be a part of her podcast. And so we went out to the dredging project. So take a look at it. It's really cute. She's really cute, and she's trying to bring positive messages and energy to the coast, and wanted to feature the harbor district. And I was probably the person that she knew the most, but I'm honored that she called me about it. And then lastly, I want to thank the Harbor District and the Harbor Board for supporting me for the SDRMA board, because I did get elected out of the 4 who got on. I think I was the 3rd highest, which is actually pretty good for a non-incumbent. So I beat out 1 incumbent, but I'm very happy to be on that board. And I think my first introductory board meeting will be on November 5th. I'll give y'all some updates, but thank you again for supporting me on that.
Well, in anticipation of this big rain, I was very surprised to see how busy they were down at the harbor. I've been around over 30 years, and I saw holes opened up as they were cleaning storm drains that I'd never seen before. I never realized the amount of preparation that the general public doesn't get to see as our guys maintain things at the harbor. So that was really something.
Good. Bill?
No, I thought.
Oh, you did. Okay. And I'll sum up with a note of congratulations to the crew and management and everyone involved. There was a water rescue on October 4th. They rescued 2 people whose boat was sinking and capsized. The people were rescued because of our excellent teamwork. And also because they were wearing their life jackets.
The passengers.
The people who were rescued, there were 2 people, they were both wearing their life jackets, so they were able to be rescued in that cold water. If you are in that cold water for very long, you will die of hypothermia. And
where was this?
this was just outside the breakwater.
3 miles offshore.
3 miles, so it wasn't close, but it was not far either. But again, our team is fabulous, and I hope they get I hope this gets a press release or something, because one of the most important functions of this district is ocean safety. And then we're sort of the last resort, our group, for pulling people out of the water, but we want you to be safe first. So thank you again to that. Moving on to activity reports, general manager.
Good morning, and to add on to that is during the run, the beach safety run, there was a mayday over Channel 16 of a family who engines died on them, and they were drifting into the breakwater at the mouth of the harbor. They were very distraught on the radio. our guys were able to go out there and get them before they hit the rocks and safely tow them back to the dock and get their boat on a trailer so they were able to get home safely. So they were extremely distraught on the radio, thinking that his family and young children were going to be washing up onto the breakwater. So we do it on a regular basis, almost every weekend. So the rescue you describe is routine for us. But yes, we do a great job, and we are the only ones on the coast side with assets in the water 24 hours a day. There is no other agency that has that.
Not the sheriff?
They have a boat that's in the water sometimes when it's here, but their staff is all volunteer, and they're more of a recovery team for evidence than they are a search and rescue team.
Fire department.
They don't get wet.
Thank you.
Unless it's by hose.
So with that, going back to the general manager's report, good morning, President Slater Carter, commissioners. It's been a very busy 4 weeks since our last board meeting. First, again, please join me in congratulating Rochelle Modena for her hard work and dedication towards the budget development. Once again, the district has earned the Distinguished Budget Award from the Government Finance Officers Association. And if I can count right, it's the 6th year in a row
Something like that, yeah.
that we've been able to earn that. And this is remarkable given the fact that we switched over to a brand new budget format 2 years ago. I also want to highlight the Harbor District is now on the social media app Nextdoor for here on the coast side. We have already posted fact sheets on Pillar Point Harbor, Surfers Beach Safe Parking Project, the Pillar Point Harbor Launch Ramp Project. We also shared messages about trunk or treat event and other issues related to the district. And we're getting positive feedback on that. We have also been tracking the Mid-Coast. I've been tracking the Mid-Coast Community Council in their effort to host a workshop. They referenced in their August 13th, 2025 letter to multiple stakeholders here on the coast side with reference to parking. The purpose of the workshop was stated in the letters to encourage all stakeholders to come together to talk about the parking issues and encourage a collaborative solution where everybody can contribute ideas, fostering a transparent and interactive collaborative process. At this point, after several weeks, the MCC has agreed the initial workshop should be closed to the public and only include the agencies and select members of the MCC. Their request at this time is for the initial workshop is that every agency present their projects to each other and look for opportunities for collaboration. However, each of the agencies has already done this and is collaborating together already. Unless otherwise directed by the board, I will not be attending the proposed closed door workshop as it is redundant and adds no value to the process. In the future, as part of the normal planning process, the Harbor District and County will host public meetings to discuss and receive back on any proposed parking solution to address the Pillar Point Surfers Beach Safe Parking Project, which may or may not include the Burnham Strip. The Harbor District will be attending the public meeting with Caltrans being hosted by Senator Becker and Supervisor Mueller's office to discuss parking on the coast side. The meeting is scheduled to take place at Supervisor Mueller's coast side office on October 27th at 2 p.m. The meeting will also be broadcasted via Zoom or another third-party platform. This meeting is separate from the MCC workshop and is open to the public. Not quite sure.
Should
They
be a
feel that they,
process.
from my understanding is they think agencies will be more forthcoming and open with each other if it's not open to the public. I don't necessarily agree with that. It's not a Brown Act meeting. So,
It's like, what do they have to hide?
don't know. But we're already doing it, so it doesn't add any
I
value.
don't want to even, I'm glad that you're not going to do it because I don't even want us to look like we've got something to hide.
Well, no, I think I am fairly familiar with the MCC bylaws. And there's no comment. It's supposed to be an open public forum.
That's what do we have to do?
I'm,
No discussion because we don't want to violate the Brown Act.
and with that, I think our meeting, if people are trying to make a choice, well, you don't have a choice to go to the MCC one anyway, so just come to ours.
Well, thanks for sharing all of that.
They are going to do a follow-up meeting after the fact that will be open to the public. But the project, I don't know when that'll happen. Speaking of the Pillar Point Surfers Beach Safe Parking Project, Director of Operations and I met with CSW ST2, our consultant for the safe parking project. The consultant was asked to look at all possible solutions to the Harbor District's parking shortage and has developed 3 initial proposals that we'll bring to the board in the upcoming meeting. As stated in my activity report, 2 involve parking areas. 2 of the ideas involve parking areas at Burnham Strip, and the 3rd option involves a lot on the west side of Route 1 on the property currently owned by the Harbor District, located between parking lot C3 and Sam's Restaurant. We look forward to bringing these options to the board for consideration in the near future. Deer Creek outfall, which the outfall is at the launch ramp within the breakwater, has been a significant problem for the Harbor District for decades. It transports thousands of cubic yards of sand into the harbor, which then becomes trapped in the harbor by the breakwater. It also transports bacteria into the harbor that has resulted in Hotel Beach being listed as polluted by the county for fecal indicating bacteria. The idea of rerouting Deer Creek outfall outside the breakwater has been informally discussed in the past. Staff is now socializing that idea again to reroute the creek via bioswale along the length of Burnham Strip to the stormwater outfalls on Surfers Beach. This will result in the sand being deposited outside the harbor and the stream being naturally filtered via the bioswale. I'll keep the board up to date as we continue to develop this idea. And as required by Government Code 65402, I submitted a request to the county for conformance from the county to the general plan for the recent property purchases made by the Harbor District. For each parcel, we indicated the district would continue the existing activity as of the date of purchase. This is an unfunded mandate by the state, costing the district in excess of $4,000 in permit fees or application fees payable to the county. And finally, I hope to see all of you on Saturday at the Pumpkin Fest, as we will be with the Sewer Corps Authority Mid-Coast booth and staffing the community informational booth. I will be in the booth from 11 to 2. And then I will also be with the Chamber of Commerce in the wine booth, serving wine from 2:30 to 5. So please drop by, say hello, and enjoy a glass of wine.
I would urge all of the board members to attend, to spend some time in the booth at Pumpkin Festival. This is a time when people from about one of the few places where we can have a conversation with people from the entire county about the Harbor District. In the past, over 200,000 people have been attending over 2 days. So I think it's important for us to just be there and maybe do some outreach. Hi, what do you think of the Harbor District? What district? Well, then you can launch in about Oyster Point and all the good things there, especially the ferries, because that seems like a wonderful thing to do for a day trip. And also about what we're doing here. A lot of people don't know. I've womaned many booths at Pumpkin Festival, and it's always been fun. But I will admit, finding parking is a bit of a trick. So
Unless you do the pumpkin run.
oh, unless you do the pumpkin run. Oh, well, some of you might.
Where is that event held?
Downtown Half Moon Bay on Main Street.
They close off pretty much all of Main Street.
All down Main Street.
And
Huge.
there is paid parking available, which goes to local community charities. So it's a very good event for the local coastal community, but also for the countywide folks to come over and enjoy the ocean.
It's Saturday.
Yeah, this, and
It's
and
Saturday
Sunday.
and Sunday, but we're only going to be having our booth on Saturday, I guess.
I can't be there Sunday. I'll be on a plane.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah,
You're more than welcome to.
Oh, okay.
Be there
Well,
on Sunday.
I've already spoken to Keishan Prathvidi at Sam, and he's going to tell me what hours I'm going to be spending. Oh, go on. Are you done? I'm sorry, I shouldn't have interrupted you. Anyway, operations.
Pillar Point Harbor occupancy average has remained around the same. It's very high, 85%. We had a 4-day salmon opener on September 4th through the 7th. So we're very busy. Staff did a great job directing access at the launch ramp, making sure that vessel operators had life jackets and safety equipment. And the all depths for rockfish has been open also since September 18th. So the launch ramp has been very busy, and staff have been doing a great job in making sure that the lines at the launch ramp are manageable. We do have one of the lanes completely blocked due to our ongoing Surfers Beach project, which we've got a consultant, Damitz, is going to be giving us a thorough update on that project later. So staff have just been doing a remarkable job coordinating and assisting at the launch ramp to make sure that the people are able to put their boats in and out in a safe and as fast as possible manner. We've already been touched on. The RNA Foundation held a run walk, which had great participation at Pillar Point Harbor. And also, of course, raised ocean safety awareness. That was the main factor or main reason for the run walk. It's a excellent. RNA Foundation was created due to a tragedy. The young man was swept out to sea and drowned. So his family started this foundation. So it's an excellent effort, and our staff are very happy to be participating in all of the effort, all of the ocean awareness activities that foundation helps take place. The Cabrillo Education Fund also held their annual cornhole tournament immediately after the walk run. And we also had the following weekend, Pillar Point Harbor hosted a beach blanket movie night in the parking lot, which was well attended. Staff also assisted the Beach Coalition, Pacific Beach Coalition, with their monthly volunteer beach cleanup. The staff, as Commissioner Mateusz alluded to earlier, do all these preparation for these events while also cleaning restrooms, keeping the parking lot, the lawns mowed, all of the maintenance of the docks, all that done at the same time, and also preparing for weather events like these strong rains that we watching the weather and knew were going to occur. So cleaned out all of the stormwater vents or stormwater grates, etc. Just they do a remarkable job, and that's those efforts are led by Harbor Master Tibby and Assistant Harbor Master Dante Madrigal, but all the staff just do an excellent job. And then it's already been touched on, but I want to reiterate the excellent job that Deputy Harbor Masters Finch and Moore did in their life-saving rescue of 2 persons that had been thrown into the water 3.5 miles offshore when their 14-foot boat was capsized by a large wave. The sheriff's office actually wrote a commendation for their life-saving efforts. They were able to locate the 2 people in the water after their boat capsized through 911 mapping. And they pulled them from the water and both made a full recovery. Pillar Point Harbor Master Tibby also provided a tour for a local Cub Scout troop at Pillar Point Harbor, explained the rescue operations that we undertake and the commercial fishing activities. Harbor Master Tibby is also an Eagle Scout himself, which is the highest scouting achievement possible. That was very well received, and we also received a commendation letter to Harbor Master Tibby for his efforts in providing that tour. At Oyster Point, the occupancy has also ticked up slightly. Staff are doing an excellent job over there in continuing to assist the boaters, the tenants in the West Harbor to access their boats. The access has been narrowed down to just one entry due to our ongoing West Dock access replacement project, where we're replacing the gangways leading out to the docks due to them previously being underwater at high tides. Staff at Oyster Point, again led by Harbor Master Smith and Assistant Harbor Master Walding, been doing an excellent job in preparing for the king tides that we've been having, which makes it to where regretfully we can't even get out to our harbor office sometimes because the spit's completely underwater. It's great that the district and the board has approved the project to allow the gangways to be raised up to the new trail level, where now all of our tenants, some of which are handicapped, will no longer have to wade through water to get to their boats. So it's excellent project, and staff are doing a remarkable job trying to help the tenants get their provisions out to their boats and access their vessels throughout these couple months of construction. On the 17th, Oyster Point staff, led by Training Officer Smith and Harbor Master Wald and Assistant Harbor Master Walding, participated in a huge combined life-saving exercise with the San Francisco International Airport, Coast Guard, WETA, South San Francisco Fire Department, Police Department, among others. And that was a simulated aircraft crash into the water, and they simulated rescuing the people from water, and then all the way up to the parking lots being used for the trauma treatment areas. And then staff also assisted the Dragon Boat team in a volunteer trash pickup and continued all along the significant dock float replacement, which has to be done. This is largely led by Assistant Harbor Master Walding. A lot of that is in the water, in the cold water work, and it's remarkable that our teams are able to do that safely. So we're they did the trash cleanup with the Dragon Boat, but the dock repair and dock float replacement is it's an arduous task. They do that all on their own. It's very challenging.
Admissions and finance, Julie.
You, President Slater Carter. Good morning, Commissioners. The administrative office has been extremely busy lately. We do have a couple resignations on our team and 2 other people are on leave, but we're continuing to make progress, and we had the second year open enrollment meetings, which was well received by employees, and it's an opportunity for Rochelle and I to go out and have FaceTime with people at Oyster Point Marina and Pillar Point Harbor and describe what benefits are available to the employees that work for the district. We're also working very hard on putting together the 24-25 financial statements. There is a new GASB standard this year, statement number 75. And that requires that the district add a liability for unused sick leave. So we're calculating that. We are in the process of recruiting for one of our open positions, customer service coordinator position. I believe that closes on October 17th. And we will be bringing a position description for a new administrative position to the board at our next meeting. So,
Moving on to the consent agenda. Item 1 is bills and claims. Item 2 is minutes from the regular board meeting. And number 3 is monthly capital project update.
Motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second,
We have a motion and a second by Tom and Virginia. All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Moving on to discussion. Surfers Beach update. This is for information only.
We've got our consultant Brad Dammitz online. It's gonna give us our monthly project update. Brad, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Thanks, John. Thank you for commissioners for allowing me the time to give these updates. Got a fairly quick one for today. Let me just share my screen. Okay. So as you know, the mobilization for the project happened in June and early July. Construction started at July 29th was the official start date. And the beginning of the project was focused on dredging sand off the launch ramps and creating that eelgrass mitigation area. Since then, the eelgrass mitigation area has been completed and all the eelgrass was salvaged and successfully transplanted by the beginning of September. So that portion of the project is complete. Now we need to monitor it for the next 5 years to evaluate the success of it. And then starting in mid-July, they began pumping sand over to Surfers Beach. So the two main elements of this project, I'll talk about the dredging portion first, and then we can talk about what's happening on Surfers Beach after that. So there's still 2 dredges operating. This is the smaller one. This is the larger one. Right now, they're both operating in dredge area 2, which is this larger rectangular area off of the East Breakwater. So all of dredge area 1A, B, and C has been dredged to completion. So far, for the project, the total amount of sediment dredged from both areas has been 60,000 cubic yards approximately. Of that, 16,000 went over to the eelgrass mitigation area, and the remaining 44,000 went over to Surfers Beach. So that's 25,000 cubic yards from dredge area 2 and about 35,000 from dredge area 1. You can see from this bathymetry survey, these blue areas are the deeper areas. And then we kind of have this indentation here where it's much shallower. The reason for that is they did run into a debris field, which is off of Sam's Chowder House. We were aware that there was debris there and had it in the plans to look out for it and avoid it. But that's the reason that one patch didn't get dredged, whereas the rest of the area got dredged to completion. And here's an interesting photo. This is a 1972 historical photo. And that's that landfill that we talked about. Keith Mangold, a local resident who's been involved in a lot of the different Harbor District projects, he contacted me early on and mentioned that there's this site here and that we should be aware of it. So we put that in the plans, but that's what we're looking at. So the beginning portion of the Surfers Beach sand placement was pumping directly to the northern end of the project. And this photo just shows that's before they started pumping sand. And that's after about 2 weeks and about 10,000 cubic yards. So by pumping it directly to that north end, it worked its way up and along the beach and benefited the project. The next phase of the project, they brought those pipelines to the south end and began building these big containment berms and pumping the slurry in there and near constantly working the pile of sand with the dozer, adjusting to the tides and whatnot. This is what it looked like at the end of September. Moving forward, here's beginning of October. You can see that sand kind of percolates through that slurry kind of sifts its way through the water, and then what you're left with is sand to build up that beach. This is just a photo of how they do the surveying. So once they get a certain portion, about 100-foot portion of the project designed to the grade that's in the plan, they get it surveyed off and then accepted. And as they move from the south to the north, these different sections are continuously getting completed and accepted. Here's a nice view of from the 9th of October at a low tide, and you can really visually see just how much sand is on the beach, along with that berm over here at the far end. And then I've got one last thing to show you, which is a time-lapse video showing the construction from the beginning. And what I'll orient you to in the beginning, they're going to set up the pipes at this north end. You'll see them start pumping, and then you'll see the pipes getting assembled, and then they'll start pumping and moving it with the bulldozer on the north end. So kind of
That's before they've done anything right there.
right there is, yeah, right before they even moved any pipes. At this point, they're still working on the eelgrass area. So here we go. There you go. The first pipe comes in. They're getting the other pipes set up. Now you can see they're placing sand at the far end of the project and moving it towards where the camera is. So there you can see it. There's the big berm on the beach, which, as I mentioned, is just constantly they need to move it around and shift it and adjust it as the tides kind of come in. But one of the positive things that we're seeing is a lot of that sand is remaining on the beach even during high tides. So that's the kind of quick update of the project. As always, we've got, I'm sorry. All kinds of information up on the website. And with that, I'll just turn it over in case there's any questions from the commissioners or staff. Thank you.
Comment, and it's a piece of just of history. Rather than calling it Sam's, at that point in time, that artificial beach and that only building, I believe it was still Ida's, which was a restaurant, made the best clam chowder I've ever eaten. And I was sorry when they left, but at least before the current things, way back in the early 70s, it was Ida's. Just for a historic detail.
Thank you. I didn't know that.
So Brad, we have about 15 more days till the end of construction and I guess final dredging. How much quantity do we have left to dredge that can go on the beach?
Yeah, so we've got about another 33,000 per the contract that still could dredge and go to Surfers Beach. Right now, the end date is October 31st. Realistically, and we're going to kind of get into the details of this next Tuesday, it's probably going to be the beginning of November, around the 5th or 6th, just because of the remaining volume that needs to be pumped before they can finish. And then that'll leave another 2 weeks or so for demobilization sometime in mid-November.
Jim, have you heard from anyone about the noise issues?
I updated them yesterday. We're no longer in the A zones, which was next to the launch ramp. Both dredges are out in the harbor, so the noise level is not as loud as it used to be. But I haven't heard any complaints beyond asking for an update.
Any more from the board? No. Melanie, do we have any?
No.
No. Okay. And
I
this
just
is,
want to thank you, Brad, for all of this, and everyone's just so excited about this and getting it done. And they're like, oh, we're basically making a new county beach or county park for the county park system. So thanks for doing all of this, Brad, and thanks to the public again for their support. It's been incredible. It's been an incredible 15-year at least journey for just to get to this point.
I
Yeah.
hope we can make it a habit that we don't do it every time we need it instead of wait all these years. Yeah. Okay, moving right along then to item number 2. This is the vote on the accepting the California Division of Boating and Waterways Surrendered and Abandoned Vessel Exchange, SAVE 25 grant, and for financial assistance for demolition of abandoned vessels, marine debris, and vessel turn-in program.
Is my name on this? Nope.
It's John and Jim.
Handles this.
I'll do it, yeah. No worries. This is a motion to adopt resolution number 25-10 to authorize acceptance and execution of a California Boating and Waterways Surrendered and Abandoned Vessel Exchange Grant for $45,000 and authorize the general manager to expend the DBW SAVE grant monies for removal of abandoned vessels at Oyster Point Marina and Pillar Point Harbor up to that amount. Little background, the district's been doing this or been participating in this DBW SAVE grant since it began decades ago. And we have in the past been fortunate enough to get 3 times this amount when we do apply for the grant, but regretfully the funding is just no longer as available. So we've been reduced down to 45,000. Fortunately, we've been taking advantage pretty aggressively. Pillar Point Harbor Harbor Master Tibby and Oyster Point Marina Harbor Master James Smith have been initiating the for years now the challenging process to gain custody and remove these abandoned vessels that regretfully end up, if no action is taken, they end up sinking and becoming a environmental hazard. And they've been able to already remove the vast majority of our challenged vessels, and along with our GW, our legal team's assistance, we've been able to address many of these vessels. So we are down to just a few remaining. So we anticipate this 45,000 in addition to the money that we have left over from previous grants to be sufficient. But we do also have the opportunity to partner with other agencies that have grants. If we end up using all of our money, we've done that on behalf of other agencies in the past. So we're hopeful that should we need more monies to get rid of or to dispose of these challenged vessels and we run out of our money, we can potentially partner with one or more other agencies that do have extra money until the next grant monies become available.
Motion,
I'll move to adopt resolution 2510 to authorize acceptance and execution of a CBW, well, California Building and Waterways Surrendered and Abandoned Vessel Exchange Grant for $45,000 and authorize the general manager to expend DBW Save 25 grant monies for removal of abandoned vessels at Oyster Point Marina and Pillow Point Harbor.
do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Bill. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Moving right along to item 3, authorize the San Mateo County Harbor District to adopt and implement the Uniform Public Construction Cost Accounting Act and to adopt resolution number 25-01.
Okay, thank you. Today, we're asking the commission to adopt and implement the California Uniform Public Construction Cost Accounting Act, also called KUCA, and to direct staff to publish a notice of proposed amendments to the district code of ordinances to incorporate procedures necessary to implement this act. Currently, we are governed by the public contract code, and harbor districts are required to go out for formal public bid for any new project of $10,000 or more and any repairs to projects of $5,000 or more. This puts a lot of extra work on staff to go out for public bid, where you have to advertise the public bid and have openings of bids and so on and so forth. And it's such a small amount. Well, if we become part of this KUCA process, then we can have a more streamlined process for projects up to $75,000. We would just go out and get informal quotes. We could go out, to bid if we thought that there was a benefit to that, but we wouldn't have to do that. And then there's an informal process for projects up to $220,000. And that informal process requires us to either have an internal list of contractors that have been vetted and that are available for projects that we would go out to bid for, or as we're proposing now to implement this, is that we just contact trade builder exchanges, and the state gives us a list of those builder exchange contacts, and to go out to bid, we now just contact them with our bid documents. And so that will allow us to do small projects in a more timely fashion. Like, for instance, we needed a door replaced in the admin building, and it's like $10,200. Well, we can't just go with the vendor for that price. We'd have to go out and advertise to have our door replaced. So I believe that this would be a good program. If in the future we find it's not working for us, we can always pull ourselves out of it. But I do think that this will help us do our work more efficiently.
Yeah, we do still get competitive quotes, and not only is it, as Julie said, it's not that it makes it easier on staff, it's more just that the project can be done in a more timely manner. A lot of times, with the marinas, with the dock work, we've got a vessel that a control cable broke and slammed into our dock. So we've got a dock that's dangerous and needs to be repaired. The normal process could take up to 2 months. So you're doing an invitation for bid versus being able for us just to be able to more quickly go out and have these and get quotes to have these repairs made.
comments from the board?
Just a quick question. If we decide to get out of this program, is there a penalty? That doesn't seem to be, but I'm.
And no, there's no penalty and there's no cost to get into it.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Motion? I'll move. Thank you, Virginia. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Bill. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. And I'd like to thank staff for looking into this. I think we'll save a fair amount of money. Among other things, companies are not that fond of doing bids because it's expensive and there's a greater than 50-50 chance if there are 3 bidders that only that 2 have spent money that gets incorporated and made up for the bid process. So I think this is good. Thank you. We are on to item number 4, one we've been working on for a while, and the recommendation is to adopt the 2025 strategic plan that is in draft form now. Jim.
Once again, good morning. The 2025 strategic plan has been almost 2 years in the making. We've held 2 public workshops receiving feedback from the public and the Harbor Board for staff. Since the last workshop on April 8th, we've been working with Martin Roush of Roush Communications to develop the final draft based on that input received. We've also worked with and did a little more wordsmithing with our strategic communications consultant. Of note, it suggested that a suggested update to the mission statement as proposed in the original draft, provide open, accessible, well-maintained public marina facilities that encourage and support commercial and recreational activities, environmental stewardship, coastal literacy, and a highly qualified search and rescue team. In my opinion, the mission statement as drafted was getting too specific and needed to be reduced further to the core elements of providing a marine facility, safety, environmental stewardship. With this in mind, I suggest the mission statement read, serve the public by providing accessible, well-maintained marine facilities and programs to encourage and support recreational and commercial activities, beach and ocean safety, and environmental and ecological stewardship. It's staff's recommendation that the board adopt the 2025 strategic plan with any proposed revisions, and then direct staff to create a work plan and priorities to bring it back to board for consideration. With that, we also have online Martin Roush, if there's any questions for Martin. With that, I'll get.
Hello, good morning.
So shall we, do we have comments from the board?
So Jim, I like your proposed change to the mission statement. I agree with you. Also, I was reading this on the phone, Martin, so excuse me if I missed something, but I do think it's important to say that somewhere in here that the Harbor Board is an elected body. Because there are commissions that are not elected. And I think what makes this Harbor District supported is, or what supports this is the fact that we have an elected board and we're accountable to the public. So unless I missed something in here, which is very possible, because I'm having some eye issues, I didn't see, maybe it should be at the beginning where, like the purpose of the plan, for example, and it could be anywhere, but somewhere here. The 5-year strategic plan represents the Harbor Commissioner's direction. I would somehow put in like represents the Harbor, the elected Harbor Commission Board or something in here about how we're an elected body.
Mr. Chen Corrali, I would recommend that we can insert a sentence on top of page 4, which is on page 119 of the agenda package, that describes that the Harbor District was established in 1933.
It is.
We can add a sentence in there that reflects the fact that the district is managed by an elected board.
Okay, that would be great. I mean, it sounds nitpicky, but I just think it's important that we are a county-wide elected body. And our
Yes.
strategic plan.
Yep. I agree.
Because otherwise, I think it looks great.
Any other comments?
One thing that after reading through this for the final time, under the vision statement on page 7, the first point, it says quality accessible facilities and services draw people to the harbor and marina. I would suggest putting in facilities, services, and events. So we seem to
That's a good addition.
be going in that direction, so I think that. might-
Services and events. Okay,
We've already had some few events and that number's gonna hopefully increase and become better quality in terms of our events.
Yeah, yes,
Great
George.
suggestion, Bill.
Going back to kind of the original staff report, Jim, you made a suggestion to remove coastal literacy. I would like to see what you think of the suggestion of saying that we encourage and support commercial, recreational, and educational activities. Whether it be the salmon smolt that we put in, that was an educational activity. We're going to be doing more things. We already have, signs around the harbor about education. Coastal literacy is a lot of stuff, but I'm just saying where we have support commercial and recreational activities, we say support commercial, recreational and educational.
In addition to beach and ocean safety and environmental and ecological.
Yeah, just a little focus on that, where if we take coastal literacy out, I'd like to see if we can put in something about
Yeah,
education.
I actually like that. I wasn't crazy about the words coastal literacy.
No, and Jim recommended, general manager recommended take that out, and that's
I know, I
fine.
saw that.
Yeah.
So you're saying, George, take GM's suggestion, but add the word educational?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
support educational, recreational, commercial, and educational activities.
Activities.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think that's good too. Tom,
Fine.
you have any comments?
No.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, Jim, I like your edits and thank you, George, for your edit and Bill, that was a good catch. I think this is, I think a more general strategic plan is much better than a more specific one as a document for guidance. Do we have any comments from the audience? None? Do we have any from?
Public comment.
No public comment.
Then I'll move to adopt the 2025 strategic plan
Okay,
as edited or amended. Which.
I'll say that.
thank you, George. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstentions. We now will have a new strategic element, or a strategic plan after it's been approved, or have we just approved it?
It's approved.
it's
With edits, okay,
vetted, and we'll post it.
with edits, okay.
Then we owe you a plan to implement it.
Yes.
Thank you, Martin.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you very much, everybody. It
Thank
was
you.
great
This-
working with you.
Thank you.
This was excellent, excellent document, thank you.
I enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Martin, is the boot off?
Yes, yes. I'm walking, not running, but I'll get there.
All right.
Good, okay, moving on to item G5. The hospitality, Pelagic Hospitality Group revised rent reduction request. Jim.
Item G5 discusses Pelagic Hospitality Group and revised rent reduction requests. It's essentially the same presentation provided to the board on September 17th. However, at the September meeting, the board requested further information to include what did the Harbor District collect from off the boat sales in Pillar Point? What did the district receive from real property leases at Pillar Point? What did the district collect from Pillar Point Harbor commercial activity permits? And what did the Harbor District collected passenger services at Pillar Point? The answers to all these questions are detailed in the staff report and can be found on page 135 of the agenda package. As stated in the staff report, the Harbor Board can entertain a reduction in rent. However, any reduction or forgiveness in rent would require some type of consideration in return to avoid violating or prohibition against gift of public funds. I also want to point out an error in the staff report. This was mine. I referred to the 3 parcels in questions as parcels 1, 2, and 3. I also referred to those same parcels as A, B, and C. And to be clear, parcel A is parcel 1, and parcel B is parcel 2, parcel 3 or parcel B is 2, parcel C is 3. And I apologize for any communication that may have caused. Pending any questions, that's my introduction and report.
Gentlemen, would you like to make your presentation? Please. Please.
First of all, I would like to thank you all for agreeing to renegotiate the lease that we have with you people. And I'd like to start off by introducing our general manager and chef, Marcos Reese, who has been instrumental in our operation today. He does everything from cook to wait tables, front of the staff to buying everything. We're very proud of him and happy to have him on board. Excuse me, my voice is a little rough today. And thank you for your thoughts yesterday and for the efforts you're putting into improving the harbor and to generate traffic. To the board members, I reached out to all of you yesterday afternoon, hoping to provide some insight as to why we're making this request, but I was only able to connect very briefly with Catherine. The things that we are requesting from you, we feel are crucial to our survival and success. And I can't stress this enough. We want to be a long-term partner of the harbor and the greater local community. However, our current lease is making it virtually impossible to reach that goal. We understand that you have a fiduciary responsibility to the county, to the state, and to the community. Granting our request by modifying the terms of our lease as being fiduciarily responsible as it is in the interest of the community at large to have 2 financially successful restaurants in the harbor, which can become a draw in their own right. With help now, we can become successful, and with the percent override, pay rent in excess of the $20,500 a month we're currently being charged. Additionally, we've already benefited the harbor and the county and the community by plowing many hundreds of thousands of dollars into property improvement into numbers 9 and number 17 Johnson Pier. You now own a beautiful restaurant building, which was improvements which were paid for by us. For the record, I presented each commissioner with copies of lease items to discuss, which I mailed to Jim on September 15th. They include the following, which are the most important to us. We're asking for lease item 7B. We're asking for a rent reduction to $14,500 a month, where it started out at the beginning of the lease, retroactive to July 1st, 2025, and remaining at that level for the entire term of the lease with no CPI rider. We feel a 5% override on sales will be happily paid if we are successful, and that will get our rent paid to the harbor very likely, and where our goal is to more than the 20,000 we're paying right now. Lease item number 3, parking. We're asking that you allow Pelagic Hospitality, Mavericks, and the bait shop to reserve 40 spaces in front of our building during events such as the opening of salmon season by placing signs on each space specifying space reserved for customers of Catch, Pelagic, Mavericks, and bait shop. We only want this privilege when the harbor is in gridlock with vehicles owned by fishermen who are parking there all day, which prevent access by people wishing to patronize our establishments. Lease item number 2C, I'm sorry, our hours of operation. We want you to allow us to set our operating hours for each restaurant in the fish market. We're losing money on breakfast, and we intend to eliminate breakfast on weekdays due to a lack of business beginning on November 3rd. Saturday and Sunday brunch will be served, and very likely with an improved menu. Right now. Lease item number 5B. We want you to eliminate the possessory interest tax. It's somewhat over $7,000 a year. And while it may be legal, it's not right. And it's one public entity taxing another public entity, which is then passed on to a private entity. And we just don't believe it's right, and think it could be subject for maybe a grand jury investigation. That's been suggested to us in the future. Lease item number 9, personal guarantee. We're asking that be eliminated. As you all know, my son has cancer, and very likely, I don't want to say likely, possibly may not survive. He is the only guarantor. Michelle did not sign it. And therefore, in the event that David passes, the guarantee becomes irrelevant. If he does survive and the restaurant does not, bankruptcy will be a real possibility, and the personal guarantee again will become meaningless. Lease item number 6, which is utilities, and Jim has already said that we could probably do this, and I'm not saying we want to, but we would like to have the right to install solar panels on the roof at our discretion. As you know, all of you know, electricity is becoming very expensive. Additionally, while it's not part of the lease agreement, I'd like to comment on the following. We wholeheartedly support your plans for establishing a promotion marketing committee as described by Jim yesterday in the tenant meeting. David has been advocating for this for a long time, and we laud Jim's leadership. We would like to ask you to do more wherever possible, however funds allow, to beautify the harbor. There's a lot of bare dirt showing, and and I know you're working on things like that, but that will help drive traffic. We would like you to publicly declare plans to demolish and replace our building, which at one point in time was announced, that plan is dead and no longer under consideration. We'd also like to ask you to place prominent signage on PCH to promote the harbor and to promote the businesses within the harbor. Jim has already laid the foundations for this to happen, and yesterday gave us permission to place signs on Highway 1 on harbor property, and we will get that done later this week. I'd like to make one other point. Restaurants become successful because they have traffic coming through the door. And that happens in 2 ways. Number one is location, and where we are, due to a lack of visibility, our location is not the best. Therefore, efforts need to be made by all parties to attract traffic. You were starting to do it with the initiative Jim has started, like the 5 and 10K run, like the cornhole tournament, the Beach Break Film Festival, the Witch Float coming up, Halloween trunk or treat, the boat parade at Christmas time, and we wholeheartedly concur and support those efforts. Secondly, restaurant drives traffic, but it has to establish its own restaurant reputation to do so. We are continuously working on that with emphasis on menu innovation, on customer service, on food quality, and marketing efforts through traditional marketing channels, social media. Additionally, we're reaching out to the community via public, helping the public. Michelle's on Chamber of Commerce Board. We're contributing a major auction item to the Boys and Girls Club Gala. We do other things like sponsoring Little League Baseball team. David's worked with the kids to serve schools. And we will soon begin the periodic evening promotional events. We want to and intend to become a major restaurant draw in our own right. So I want to thank you for listening and for your consideration. We look forward to your positive votes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just any questions?
Do we have any questions from the board?
So I just want to clarify that we haven't yet agreed to renegotiate the lease. We're going to be talking about that today, that decision.
I have no authority at this time to renegotiate.
Correct. So I just want to make that clear because it sounds like what Mr. Westendorf said was that we agreed to renegotiate the lease, but in fact, direction has not been given to the general manager. Am I right? Am I right on that?
Yes, I have no authority to renegotiate price and terms. There's the parking issues and operational issues like that are under my purview, but the price and terms, which is the meat of the request, is I have no authority. I do want to point out one thing. It's on page 138 of the agenda package, and it's the parcel patio. The major difference between this lease and the previous lease in funding is the fact that the patio in the previous leases was just picnic tables open to the public and anybody could walk up there, sit down and use them. It was not exclusive use. Pelagic Hospitality Group requested for exclusive use of that patio. And if you look at the breakdown of the lease payment, the patio is the big difference. The lease payment they're asking for is $14,500, which would be the rent if it was just the building for the exclusive use of the building. The exclusive use of the patio was an additional $6,000. And that's the big difference between the previous lease and this lease. Otherwise, it's the previous lease was actually paying a little bit more when you take into consideration the percentage rent that we got from the previous leasee.
Virginia?
Well, if it's in response to what Jim said, then fine. Mine's on a different issue.
Oh, okay. Please, come on up.
It's my understanding that the patio in front definitely it adds to the space that we're using. But it's also my understanding that the structures that were put up there had to be temporary, which they are. And that the public be allowed to use those, come and sit anytime they want to, and they are. People are welcome to sit there all the time, and we have people outside our door that may, some never come in the restaurant. So I just want to make that clear that those are not permanent, that the roof is not permanently installed.
I'm not the permanent versus temporary. I understand that. That was strictly a permitting issue. Because if they were permanent, then we'd have to go through Coastal Commission and get all the permitting for a permanent structure. They're temporary for that purpose. But when in negotiating a lease, it was for the exclusive use of the patio area. And right now, when you go down to the patio, you have the plastic chains that go across it. Like on Tuesdays, the chains crossed off. So it's not truly open to the public. The reason I wanted to point that out to the board was that your base rent that you're being charged for the 3 parcels is pretty much on par for what the previous tenant was paying. The big difference is the fact that the previous tenant wasn't paying for that exclusive use of that $6,000. So I just want to make that clear to the board that the 3 parcels that you lease are on par. The patio is the only difference.
And I think our position is that the $20,000 that we're paying now is very untenable toward our operation without a lot more traffic coming in the door. Okay, Thank you.
I'm just saying without that $6,000, that lowers it down to the 45 that you're requesting.
Thank you.
Jim, how many square feet roughly is the patio area?
A little less than 3,000, I think it was.
And the square footage on the entire 3 restaurants is,
I have to look that up again. It's in here somewhere.
okay, I'm sure it is.
Page 136, is that?
Thank you, Jim. Thank you for giving us such a complete set of documents. Virginia.
Jim, regarding the parking item, that Logic has outlined on item 3 of their, presentation, have you heard from the other tenants about parking, or are they collaborating with Logic? I mean, what's going on there?
Heard that there's limited parking from the other tenants. And they're right, there is limited parking.
Has there been a problem in terms of their customers not getting parking?
I would say yes. During major events, major weekends.
I haven't heard anything.
There was one weekend that the harbor was overrun unexpectedly, and we had no event at all. So it'd be hard just to close down parking for those kind of days. It was a sunny afternoon or Sunday, nice weather, and the bite was on. So the harbor got overrun, and we weren't expecting that at all. So situations like that, we wouldn't be able to forecast, but opening days for crabbing, opening days for salmon, those are days we can forecast and possibly reserve that front row or both of those to reserve the 2-hour parking to tenants only, but that would cut into off the boat sales because those people have to find places to park too. So it's a very complex problem. And before I make any recommendations or before I'd make any changes to parking, I would definitely get a working group of interested parties at the harbor together to come up with a somewhat agreed to plan before I approve anything.
I mean, I would be thrilled if our parking lots were full. That means everyone's doing, we're bringing visitors to the harbor. We're accomplishing those goals that we have. So anyway, so that's.
I would love them at 90%.
The point is fuller than what we got. I mean, people would be thrilled to have an overflow.
And that's one of the major reasons we're pushing for our Pillar Point Surfers Beach Safe Parking Project, because on occasions, and it's more and more now, we're pushing cars out onto Highway 1 and into the community. And, charter boat customers and customers for the restaurant or Mavericks, they're not going to want to walk from across Highway 1.
Right. So the other thing that was brought up just now was the marketing group. I mean, I don't think that you had authority to even spend money for a marketing group.
It's more of they're saying a marketing group is our ad hoc committee for events, which Bill and Catherine are members of.
Elijah just brought up something about marketing just now, so I.
Right, they called it a marketing group, but it's our ad hoc committee.
Okay, for events though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's just a matter of semantics.
Actual committee that was created by the president specifically for this purpose, which an ad hoc committee is supposed to do, number 1, and number 2, an ad hoc committee is for a limited amount of time. So I just want to make that clear that under the definition of the Brown Act, that's what fits.
Do we have any other comments from the board? I think I see some.
The only comment I have, if on parking, there's no time limit right now on those parking places.
No, it's 2-hour parking right now.
Is it limited to 2 hours?
So in front of the harbor master's office, between the restaurant and the harbor master's office, there's 4 rows of parking, but just 2 sets. So the first 2 rows are 2-hour parking. The other 2 rows and the space by the hoist. There's no limit to that parking. Of course, there's the no overnight parking and all that, but somebody can park in there, come in there and park for 12 hours without a problem.
It is accurate to say from operations perspective that we do already have the 2 rows of 2-hour parking, which can be used for tenants, for our restaurants and the bait shop and Mavericks as customers. But just so the board and the public is aware, our staff are very busy. We have a huge area to maintain, and we're constantly on call, not only to the tenants that are out on the docks. We're a marina, a big marina. So the tenants on the docks constantly need something, but we also respond to emergency calls as well. So our hands are full. We're cleaning restrooms, maintaining the property, etc.
So we
Saving
don't have
lives.
somebody that goes around every hour and checks.
We do the
Licenses.
best we can to maintain or to watch that 2-hour parking, and we cite people that we observe are there for longer than 2 hours, the best we can. In fact, we have already had complaints, regretfully, from the tenants themselves, the retail, the restaurants, because we've written their employees that are parking longer than 2 hours in that 2-hour parking. But the fact is, for everybody's awareness, our staff cannot stop everybody that parks there and ask them how long they're parking there, or if they are guests or customers of the restaurant. We can't stop people and ask them, hey, you're parking here. Are you going to use one of the tenant places here? That's just not realistic. We're not going to be doing that. Therefore, there are going to continually be, regretfully, people that violate whatever rules we come up with, as far as limiting the time factor or whatever signs we have there. We just can't control somebody, and we can't accuse them of lying to us if they say that they are, in fact, renting a surfboard for 2 hours from Mavericks. It's very difficult.
It keeps the honest.
Yeah, right.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah, okay.
George.
I just want a little bit better clarification on the ad hoc committee. Ad hoc committees are open to the public?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so,
They're not a Brown Act committee.
Well, they're Brown Act committee, but they're not subject to those same rules.
so we have
Like
ad hoc
state.
committee with the tenants can participate in that.
Yes.
And that's the point that, okay, I just want to
But we
make sure.
don't-
I just wonder if we had to invite
Well-
them formally, that they're part of the committee or something, but
Let
they
me
can just
add
come.
that we don't have a budget for that committee.
That's true.
We have no authority to spend
Spend money
money
on it.
for that committee.
I mean, and it
All
really
we
is
get,
for
all we
events.
get to do is
Listen and-
we're actually trying to plan the event process and procedure and calendar to get it, as George mentioned on the strategic plan. If I could finish my sentences,
Y'all are
I would
Y'all are
appreciate
doing
that.
such a great job. That's the thing. I'm so excited. You're bringing visitors to the harbor.
Can I finish?
Yeah.
Thank you. Because it's a preliminary committee to introduce the harbor to having more and events.
So
So,
is the events committee different than the activities committee? I don't know, it's the same committee, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
we changed the version. I'd like to make a comment. Tom, do you have any comments? Okay, I'd like to make a comment, and I believe, the agenda item for this is to reduce rent. What we have been given is a wish list of things that are not in the, that want a wish list about what they would like to see written into the contract, with some things that they're okay, that the tenants are okay with. If we ran up the costs, and I'm not asking staff to do that, of all of this, it would probably come up to a significant amount of money, which would be reduced from the rent then, which would add to our costs and our expense, and we'd have to balance it against the rent. Most of the items on this sheet that we've been handed are generally paid for by tenants in common area maintenance or common area charges to the landlord or business that are paid to the landlord or by a business group. Things like parking, advertising, landscaping are all paid for in a common area maintenance charge. And I think that if we're going to stick to what is announced on the agenda, it says revised rent reduction request. It doesn't say plus additional expenses. So I'd like to take this, and we've got it on closed session so we can discuss this. But in my opinion, I think we should be discussing because of what it, let me double check what it says on the agenda here, wherever I put it. Because it doesn't talk about additional charges. Yeah, it's just conference on real property under negotiation price and terms of payment on leased property. I think we should be, my opinion is we need to be discussing this in terms, in a holistic look, which is to see how much, if we wanted to, how much this would cost us. I did have a restaurant, I had several restaurants, and I have had restaurants in malls, a mall, and looked at restaurant leases in malls. And the personal guarantee, by the way, is a standard in commercial real estate. I had a large parcel that somebody wanted to lease, and we told them they had to have a personal guarantee, and they wouldn't give it to us. And we said, standard operating procedure for commercial. We need that kind of guarantee. I think that's a discussion perhaps for closed session.
So if I could,
lose the personal
President,
guarantor.
if I could, the title of Pelagic Group revised rent reduction request was just the title of the email that we received. So I just used that title. It didn't specifically reduce anything, but this session right now, I'm asking the board to just receive the presentation on request from Pelagic Hospitality Group to amend the current lease between Pelagic Hospitality Group and the San Mateo County Harbor District. We've received that information from, I provided a brief and they presented a presentation to you. So my recommendation now would be to go into closed session, which I'm asking the board to provide staff what parameters or authority I have to negotiate that lease, renegotiate that lease as a real property negotiator.
I was just gonna say just the same thing. Did we receive their information?
We have received their information.
We should go on the closed.
I believe on advice of staff and board members
That's good.
that we should move into closed session. So we'll take a 5-minute break.
President Slater Carter, we have one public comment.
Oh, we have one public comment, please.
Dan Haggerty? Go ahead, Dan.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Speak closer to the mic.
Can you hear me?
No.
Yeah, just barely.
Okay. Let me try something different.
That's better.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Yeah, let's restart the clock, please.
Okay. I just wanted to say that let's see. As far as the request for exclusive parking, it's my personal opinion that will actually hurt everyone. I also want to add that before the exclusiveness of the outside dining with the barricades, it was much more inviting to the masses. I would recommend that consideration to opening some of the barricades to make it somewhat so people can walk through better. I think that this change would make it more breathable and inviting to all, and benefit everyone involved, including the other tenants, including the fish sales on the boats. And just make it more approachable. I think for a lot of people, the way it's set up now, it's just like, well, I don't know, it doesn't look like I could go in there, so I won't. I'll go somewhere else. And then that adds up and snowballs. Also, I wanted to say that in the past, parallel parking against the sidewalk occurred naturally on the real busy days. In my opinion, it worked very fine. I was able to come in and pull in and park. People diagonal were able to back.
Dan,
Yes.
finish up, please.
Am I out of
Finish up
time?
your overtime.
Okay, so yeah, that's it. I just wanted to say that in the past, that arrangement worked fine, and that would add to parking for the establishment and everybody else. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Dan. Okay, let's move into closed session, which yeah, so let's shut down and take about a 5-minute
Recording
break
stopped.
while we
Recording in progress.
Okay, you're it. Okay, calling this meeting back to order from closed session. It's 12:53. No reportable items. We're adjourned. Let's take a vote, quick.
Aye.
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 All right, we're adjourned.
Which page has the map? with
Recording
that little
stopped.
Potential where the campers might go.